Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat?
The New Orleans Saints, they reported to training camp here on Tuesday. They will hit the practice field for the first time on Wednesday. Obviously, the big news surrounding that was the retirement of Tyrann Mathieu. We've touched on that early, and we'll touch on it actually a little bit here. What I want to do, though, is give you five things that I am watching for here in Saints training camp. Before we get into that, Mickey Loomis, he met with the media today, Saints GM, and talked about the overall vibe around the team, around the franchise heading into this camp.
Yeah, I think, man, there's an excitement about having, a new coaching staff and a lot of changes. We have the quarterback battle that we're going to be observing during this training camp. I think that's exciting to have. There's a lot of newness about that, and I'm really excited about how the offseason went. Excited about Kellen and his staff, and I'm just anxious to get going and see how it all unfolds.
A couple other notes just from the press conference today between Loomis and Kellen Moore. Foster Moreau and Taysom Hill, they'll both officially start training camp on the PUP list, physically unable to perform. That's not overall surprising, but that is now official that they will do that. Mickey Loomis did call the quarterback battle a quote, coach's decision. But that is kind of where we start. When you look at the five things, we start with the quarterback battle, obviously. It's not breaking news. But for me, it's the reps. That's what I really care about here. Because each time I filled in with Matt, and we've talked about this, I've made no bones about it, that I think it's Tyler Shough's job. I just do. Them giving him the fully guaranteed contract only kind of exacerbates that. But, that coaches like to bring their guy in. Kellen Moore brought him in. So, for me, it's the reps. Kellen Moore talked about the reps would be divvied up evenly between three. Haener, Rattler, Shough. I think everyone largely assumes this is a Shough-Rattler battle, which it is. But they're going to give Haener equal first-team reps up until the first preseason game against the Chargers. And that's where this quarterback this quarterback competition really takes the turn. Do the reps change, and how significantly after that game? Because actions speak louder than words. And that's how you will really tell who is the guy, who is the leader in this competition. If they come out of that preseason game against the Chargers and they're still divvying up reps evenly, you just keep going throughout. That's going to be your telltale sign of how true of a competition is this really. So they'll divide them up three ways, but that's ultimately what you want to see there. Mickey Loomis on the quarterback battle.
I think there's so many variables that it's kind of hard to just sit here and dictate them. I thought we saw a lot of good things during the offseason, and yet, we're not playing tackle football in the offseason. So I think this training camp period, particularly the preseason games, are going to be really important in determining who the starter is.
Yes, they will. Thank you, Mickey Loomis. On the number two, we'll just set that aside. Let Mick get us out there, right? On the number two, and this is one that I'm surprised isn't being talked about as much. And it's running back behind Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara is 29 years old. That is ancient when it comes to an NFL running back. And while Kamara was productive a season ago, specifically running the football, he played only 14 games. He missed the final three. Injuries crept up again, as they have really the last handful of seasons for AK. What do you have behind him? How you get Alvin Kamara to maximize himself where he can really play a full season again is having someone to spell him. And I think, man, look, what you have is bodies, and everyone's going to turn to Kendre Miller. And all eyes should go there. It's a guy you spent a third-round pick on in 2023. It's a guy with a lot of promise, a lot of upside, but it's a guy who has not been able to stay healthy either. We all remember Dennis Allen's line. It's hard to make the team from the training room. It was the first day of camp a year ago. I think the animosity between Kendre Miller and Dennis Allen also hampered Kendre Miller's production as well. It puts a lot of unneeded pressure on a guy going into his second season in the NFL. But what it is 14 games so far in 2 years. Can he finally take the next step? If he stays healthy, and that's the big if, can he take the next step and give you that guy behind Alvin Kamara that you so desperately need? The running game is just a massive, massive, massive part of Kellen Moore's offense. I think with the retooling of the offensive line that you have done, it sets you up to better run the football. But you have to have a body behind Alvin Kamara or a couple. You're looking at Miller, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Devin Neal, your 6th-round pick, who I get a lot of people are high on. And maybe he can emerge and burst on the scene as a rookie. But for me, I think it really hones in on Keandre Miller. That guy's got to prove he can stay healthy and prove he can be a productive back for the New Orleans Saints. This is a massive training camp for him. And if it doesn't go well, the questions of behind Alvin Kamara are even bigger. Number 3, safety. Now with Tyrann Mathieu retiring, Jonas Sanker, let's see what you got. And this kind of dovetails into number 4. But this is a guy the Saints spent a 3rd-round pick on, a top 100 selection, who they felt fortunate was still available for them at pick 93. It's a guy who's already gotten some buzz throughout OTAs and minicamp. Okay, can he burst on the scene as a rookie? Well, now he has a golden opportunity. And I talked about this earlier when we were kind of rehashing what's next at safety. For me, it's Jonas Sanker earning that job as a rookie, and you bring in a veteran depth piece. Because ultimately, that would set you up for better success in the future if you're the New Orleans Saints as well. Having Jonas Sanker be out there as a rookie, hopefully play a full season and set himself up to launch himself into the safety ranks of the NFL as a second-year player. But safety is a massive question now. And the other part of that is who they add in training camp, because they will add somebody, 100%. They will do that, because right now you're looking at 4 safeties, basically, and that's it. It's not a lot of depth. But the safety position, absolutely. Now you're keeping a huge eye on that. And Jonas Sanker, first and foremost for me. Now, I said that kind of dovetails into number 4, because number 4 for me is the defensive rookies. Man, you haven't gotten to see them at their best because they played 7-on-7 throughout the entirety of the offseason so far. Now the pads are coming on. I don't know about y'all. I'm fired up to see Danny Stutzman in pads and go out there and hit somebody, because the physicality and the tackling is what stands out about that kid first and foremost. Jonas Sanker in that number as well. Hopefully Quincy Riley's healthy now and he can get out there and put on the pads, and you can see what you have there at cornerback. Even a guy like Vernon Broughton. Now he's going to be fighting in a very crowded room along the defensive line. But now that those guys can finally get out there, play physical football, have some 11-on-11s in pad periods, let's see what they have. Because I think each of them can have a role for the New Orleans Saints here in 2025. Again with Broughton, his former college D-line coach, Bo Davis, is now the New Orleans Saints defensive line coach. You don't think there's potentially a role for that guy? I do. So I'm fired up. I can't wait to see the rookies on defense, because that's really where the question mark remains in the rookie class. Or I should say the biggest question mark remains in the rookie class. Lastly is Trevor Penning on the offensive line. And your offensive line as a whole. Rookies getting into pads, that applies to Kelvin Banks. But now that these guys can actually go out there and hit, let's see how that new structure, that new combination up front works. and if they finally figured out the role for Trevor Penning. Everybody thinks he projects so much better as a guard, and I get it. I think so too. It makes a lot of sense just from his size, the physicality, him being best in the run game. Like, all of that makes a lot of sense. But now this is his first foray into playing that position in the NFL. The pads will come on for the first time. How much does he take to that position? And the same deal with Kelvin Banks. Can he play left tackle? They've had him there since rookie minicamp. Do you end up having to flip Taliesin Fuanga back over there? Do you just flip-flop him? There's a lot of questions there as well. But overall, I think the New Orleans Saints have really found their best combination on the offensive line, but training camp will prove it. And I'm fired up to see it as well. There you go. Those are 5 things. 5 things I'm looking for now in Saints training camp. How much of a difference will it make to the outcome of the season? I don't know, but it could make a world of difference 1-2 years down the road for the Saints when hopefully they are competing for the division again and maybe even something big.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.